Just in for today's news, the historical backgrounds and cultural heritage of Fort Santiago, Heritage City of Vegan, National Museum of Natural History, and Museo ng Katipunan. News with no bias, expose. News with no exception, expose. Aspiring to deliver credible news by the people, from the people, for the people. This Olfu Elite News Center. Hello and welcome to OENC, live here at the RIPH News Channel. I'm your news anchor for today, Paul Hanyala, bringing you historical news in the Philippines. Let us go back in time and visit the beauty of the famous fortress, Fort Santiago, which is located in Intramuros, Philippines. Fort Santiago is said to be one of the most important historical sites in Manila, as many lives were lost in its prison during the Spanish era and World War II. Let's hear more from Ms. Gemma Macaya, who's live there at the scene. Ms. Gemma?
Yes, Mr. Paul. What you said a while ago is true. I already visited the area just a while ago and found out that there were plenty of historical events which happened here at the famous fortress in Intramuros.
I see. Can you tell us, Ms. Gemma, what did you feel after visiting the fortress?
The Fort Santiago is located inside the walled city of Manila, which is the Intramuros. Upon arriving at the oldest fortress, you can already see the old bastion. At first sight, it was refreshing to see old structures from the Spanish era, but learning about its history made me think twice about how the colonization of the Spaniards and the war affected the people and the country itself. The whole place will let you feel and imagine what really happened during that period. It made me feel dejected, knowing that hundreds of people at that time fought and died for the freedom of the Philippines.
Well, thank you for that brief answer, Ms. Gemma. Hearing you answer it also made me understand how you really feel about the place. Would you mind giving us more information about the fort now?
Of course, Mr. Paul. According to history, the exact spot where Fort Santiago stands was once the Muslim kingdom, which was ruled by Raja Sulaiman. When the Spaniards came to conquer the Philippines, the site which was once called the Muslim Kingdom was destroyed and replaced with the Fort Santiago, which was built by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi in 1571. It was named after patron saint, Saint James Santiago in Spanish. The British invaded in 1762 and used Fort Santiago as their capital throughout their reign, which lasted until 1764. Upon the arrival of the Americans in 1778, they repaired the fort, which later served as the command center of the U.S. Army's Philippines Division, and when the Japanese conquered the Philippines in 1942 as a part of the World War II, they used the fort as the military outpost and a prison. According to reports, they had held and tortured between 2,500 and 3,000 Americans and Filipinos at the location. In 1946, the U.S. military handed the bastion back to the Filipino government, and in 1950 it was designated as a Shrine of Freedom. The fort was renovated a year later by the National Park Development Committee before being given to the Intramuros administration in 1992. That is the simple yet brief explanation of the history of the oldest fortress in the Philippines called Fort Santiago, Mr. Paul.
Thank you for that wonderful information, Miss Gemma. Now, do you have any site recommendation for us to visit next?
Of course, aside from Fort Santiago, you can also visit the Hall Intramuros, as the place will surely bring you back to the Spanish era of the Philippines, and you surely learn more about the place. Back to you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you once again, Miss Gemma. See you soon. Oh, don't go anywhere. OE and CU will be back after a short break.
Alright then, rockstar dog, diggy 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 yo, yo, diggy 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 diggy, taka 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 taka. Hey, rockstar dog, diggy 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 yo, yo, diggy 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 diggy, taka 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 rockstar dog, diggy 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 diggy. Alright then, rockstar.
We're back again here at the studio, and now we are going to talk about the heritage city of Vigan, one of the most charming and most historical sites in the Philippines. Our report on the ground, Mr. Adam Mendoza, has more on the story. Mr. Adam, can you tell us more about Vigan?
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Vigan is a city located in the province of Ilocos Sur, in the northern part of the Philippines. It is known for its well-preserved Spanish colonial architecture and is now considered one of the best-preserved examples of a Spanish colonial town in Asia. Walking through the streets of Vigan, you will feel like you have been transported back in time. The city is famous for its cobblestone streets, colonial-style houses, and churches. One of the most popular attractions in Vigan is the Calle Crisologo, a street lined with historic houses that have been converted into shops, restaurants, and museums.
That must have been a breathtaking sight. Did you learn anything about Vigan's history with your visit?
Absolutely. I discovered that Vigan has a rich and fascinating history that dates back to the Spanish colonial period. The city was founded in 1572 by Juan de Salcedo, a Spanish conquistador, and was named Villa Fernandina in honor of the King Philip II's son, Prince Ferdinand. During the colonial period, Vigan served as an important trading center for tobacco, abel cloth, and gold. The city's strategic location, along with the hard work of the locals, helped Vigan become one of the wealthiest cities in the Philippines.
It is amazing to see how history has shaped the city's identity. Well, may I ask, Mr. Edo, what are your favorite landmarks in Vigan?
My favorite landmark was the St. Paul's Metropolitan Cathedral, a beautiful Baroque-style church that was built in 1641. The cathedral has undergone many renovations over the years, but still retains its original character and charm. It was a truly remarkable sight to be behold.
Well, it sounds like you had a wonderful trip. So, what are your thoughts on the city's efforts to preserve its cultural heritage?
I was impressed by the city's dedication to preserving its heritage. The local government as well as the community have made significant effort to maintain the city's cultural heritage and to showcase it to visitors from around the world. It's clear that they have taken pride in their city and are working hard to protect it for our future generations.
Thank you, Mr. Edo, for sharing your experience and historical backgrounds of Bigan. It's clear that Bigan is a city with rich heritage and that there is so much more to discover and explore. So we're back, live here at the studio. Earlier, we talked about the heritage city of Vigan, and now we have a special report in the National Museum of Natural History, which is one of the most important cultural institutions in the country. Our reporter, Mr. David, has spent some time researching the museum's history and his experiences visiting it. Mr. David, can you tell us more about your visit and the history of National Museum of Natural History?
Thank you, Mr. Paul. It was a pleasure to visit the National Museum of Natural History, which is one of the most impressive museums I have ever seen. The museum is located in a beautiful neoclassical building in the heart of Manila, and it's dedicated to showcasing the incredible natural diversity of the Philippines.
That sounds fascinating. But can you tell us more about the museum's history?
Sure. The National Museum of Natural History can trace its roots back to the Philippine Exposition of 1904, which was held to showcase the country's culture and natural resources. At the time, the Philippines was a colony of the United States, and the exposition was designed to promote the colony's economic potential.
And how did the museum come about the exposition?
Well, the exposition included a natural history exhibit that was so popular it became a permanent fixture in Manila. Over the years, the collection grew, and eventually, in 1973, the National Museum of Natural History was established as a separate institution.
That's quite a long of history, huh? Well, what did you find the most interesting about the museum during your visit?
I was struck by the museum's commitment to showcasing the diversity of the Philippines' natural world. The Biodiversity Gallery, for example, is a remarkable space that includes over 500,000 specimens of animals and plants, many of which are endemic to the Philippines.
And what was your favorite exhibit?
That's a tough question, but I think the dinosaur exhibit was particularly impressive. The museum has an incredible collection of dinosaur fossils, including the skeleton of a 37-foot-long plant-eating dinosaur that was discovered in Cebu in 2009.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Did you had a chance to speak to any of the museum staff during your visit?
Yes, I did. I spoke with one of the curators who explained to me the importance of the museum's work in studying and preserving the Philippines' natural heritage. I also learned that the museum is involved in important research projects, such as studying the effects of climate change on the country's flora and fauna.
It's great to hear that the museum is doing such an important work. Thank you, Mr. David, for sharing experiences and knowledge about the National Museum of Natural History with us.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. It was my pleasure.
That was Mr. David reporting in the National Museum of Natural History. Stay tuned for the last topic.
Upside down, boy, you turn me inside
welcome back to OENC, still live here at the RIPH channel. For our last news for the day, we are going to have a closer look at the Museo ng Katipunan, a museum dedicated for the Philippine Revolution against the Spanish colonial rule. Our reporter, Mr. Derek Villas, has visited the museum and has some first-hand experience to share with us. Mr. Derek, can you tell us about your visit and some historical significance of Museo ng Katipunan?
Thank you, Mr. Paul. It was an honor to visit the Museo ng Katipunan, which is the tribute to the bravery and sacrifices of our national heroes during the Philippine Revolution. The museum is located in San Juan City, Metro Manila, and it tells the story of the Katipunan, a secret society that spearheaded the revolution against the Spanish colonialism.
That sounds like an important part of our history, but can you tell us a bit more about the museum's history though?
Yes, absolutely. You know, the Museum ng Katipunan was established in 2013 to coincide with the 150th anniversary of the birth of Andres Bonifacio, the founder of the Katipunan. The museum was built on the site where the Katipunan was founded, in a small house in San Juan. It was open to the public to celebrate and honor the bravery and heroism of the Katipuneros.
And what did you find the most interesting about the museum during your visit?
There were so many fascinating exhibits, but what stood out to me the most was the way the museum used multimedia technology to bring the story of the Katipunan to life. The museum has interactive displays, videos, and even holograms that show the different stages of the revolution and highlight the heroism of the revolutionaries.
That sounds incredible. Well, did you have a favorite exhibit by chance?
The exhibit that I found most moving was the one dedicated to the life of Andres Bonifacio. The exhibit includes personal artifacts of Bonifacio, like his jacket, shoes, and personal letters, as well as interactive displays that shows the different stages of his life and his role in the revolution.
It must have been quite of an emotional experience. Did you have a chance to speak to any of the museum staff during your visit?
Yes, I did spoke with the curator of the museum, who was very passionate about preserving the history of the Katipunan and also ensuring that future generations understand the importance of the revolution. He explained to me how the museum is dedicated to provide an accurate and balanced portrayal of the Katipunan and its role in the revolution. That is all, Mr. Paul. Thank you.
It is great to hear that the museum is doing such important work. Thank you, Mr. Derek, for sharing experience and knowledge about the Museo ng Katipunan with us. You have just heard the fascinating history of the nation. This has been Paula Hanyala.
Live here in Port Santiago, this is Juwaima Makaya.
Your reporter here in Vigan, Edel Mendoza.
Reporting here in National Museum of Natural History, David Ian Orcales.
And live here in the Museo ng Katipunan, this is Derek Villas.
Again, this Olfu Elite News Center. News with no bias, news with no exception. Delivering nothing but the truth. Bringing you the historical news in the Philippines. Thank you for being with us and have a great blessed day, everyone.